one of Swelter's striped rats.
Yes, sir.
Your lessons are at an end.
Where did the idea for Harry Potter come from? J.K. Rowling said it came to her during a train journey from Manchester to London. She was delayed long enough to invent her scarred protagonist and the iconic Platform 9 3/4. But of course, the series had been germinating a long time before then. She often talks about Dickens as her biggest influence, and we can see that in The Orphan Harry, surrounded by a cast of colourful characters. Even the names, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, and Luna Lovegood, sound like they could have been friends with the likes of David Copperfield. She even takes the name Crookshank from one of Dickens' illustrators. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Sword in the Stone, and The Wind in the Willows have also been mentioned as inspirations, but nowhere have I read about what I believe to be her biggest influence. Gormenghast is a fantasy series by Mervyn Peake, which takes place in a world which may or may not be part of our one. The first book came out in 1946, and along with The Lord of the Rings, is considered one of the foundations of modern fantasy. It is much darker in tone than Harry Potter. Characters commit suicide by feeding themselves to ravenous owls. They're murdered while picking spiders out of their eyes, and starve to death when they become paranoid about leaving their rooms. There are also no magical creatures, no mesmerizing spells, not even a friendship to alleviate the gloom. Despite this, there are too many parallels between Gormenghast and Harry Potter to mention in one video, but let's take a look at some of the main ones. For starters, they both follow a young boy who attends school in an enormous castle. Gormenghast is over a mile long, filled with secret passages and strange rooms, and is at least 20 stories high. Like Hogwarts, it is surrounded by a mysterious forest, which the students fear to enter. Instead of Aragog, the giant spider from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the thing lurks among the trees, until finally confronted by the hero of the story. Titus Groan, the main character in Gormenghast, is also similar to Harry Potter. They both face a villain who killed their father and learn the ritual, which is Mervyn Peake's equivalent of magic. They are also surrounded by colourful characters with Dickensian names. What's more, they all have their equivalents in either novel. You have Steerpike and Snape, academics who resent their position, Swelter and Hagrid, both giants who dare to venture beyond the castle grounds, Flay and Filch, savage men who take care of the castle, and Irma Prunesqualler, a good-natured and bespectacled woman who reminds me of Professor McGonagall.
Did he go upstairs just now? Did he go upstairs? I heard feet.
And what is wrong when you boil the matter down with feet? I've always found mine most useful, especially when walking. One might almost imagine they had been designed for the very purpose.
The castle is attacked throughout most of the series by Steerpike, who is also the Gormenghast equivalent of Voldemort. Steerpike resents Titus Groan for having lived on after the death of his father, and aims to conquer the entire castle. Like Voldemort, Steerpike is defeated by the hero at the age of 18, the year when he graduates, and leaves the school to face the wider world. Class is also a central theme to both series. The students of Slytherin House bullying those from less affluent families. The difference with Gormenghast is that the hero actually comes from humble origins and wants to tear down society due to anger at the injustice of his birth.
Don't you think it's wrong if some people starve and other people have so much they wasted? Don't you think the brave and the skillful should be rewarded? Don't you think talent is as important as wealth?
It's raining.
I've often wondered why Harry Potter is so much more successful than Gormenghast, when they have such similar characters and story. I feel that it has a lot to do with the writers themselves. Mervyn Peake suffered terribly from mental illness, being institutionalized for months at a time, only to face early onset dementia in his 40s. This has led to the books feeling chaotic, the first taking place over a year, like Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and the second spanning 17. Like all great writers, who steal rather than borrow, J.K. Rowling transforms many of Peake's ideas into a more cohesive series, one which matures with her audience rather than spiraling into weirdness, like the last book of the Gormenghast series, in which Titus Groan contends with a mad scientist and his death ray.